Hey there, welcome to the Tranquil Shop. So I was in Walmart the other day for grocery related reasons, and I happened to pass by their yarn section and I saw these, I guess I can show the camera because we're talking about them, these Sesame Street hat yarn things. And I was like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. I've done before a lovey, like a really small blanket for babies, just to like hold as a security blanket, with a little polar bear on top that looked kind of similar to this before I made the item. So I'm kind of familiar with how these work, but I saw these, I really liked the experience with making that lovey. And I was like, hey, let's try making some hats with Sesame Street characters. So that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to make two child-sized hats with this yarn. One in Big Bird and the other in Cookie Monster. I was never a fan of Sesame Street as a kid. I don't know what it was about it that I just didn't really like it. I will also note that these are not going to be something that are going to be in my shop. You cannot buy these. They are already spoken for. I already have a buyer for them before I've even made them. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to share the experience of making little hats? So, here we go. Here is the slight problem that I have. I know the kids that I'm making these hats for. I don't know them well enough that I just know their head size off the top of my head. And they're in this sort of strange mix of, I'm not sure whether I should make them toddler hats or whether I should make them child-sized hats. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a child-sized hat. Hopefully 95 yards is enough for a child-sized hat. That's not something I know off the top of my head. And if it's too big, they can grow into them. Honestly, immediate first thoughts about this yarn, it's really soft, and I wanted to check the yarn label because it was like strangely soft. I wasn't the one who paid for this yarn, but I'm sure it wasn't like $10 yarn or anything. I wonder if the price is on this. Not that I see. But I was like, I'm pretty sure this isn't like a luxury sort of yarn, so it's weird how soft it is. Looked at it and it is polyester yarn. I don't know that much of a difference between acrylic and polyester. They are both man-made fibers, but it's like definitely softer than acrylic. I'm not sure that I would say it's like the softest thing on the earth, you know, but it's definitely a lot softer than some of the other yarns that I work with. Another thing that I want to say about this yarn is the color changes happen really fast, which might be nice depending on what sort of pattern that you are using, but because the label of this says hat yarn and you are technically sort of supposed to make a hat out of this yarn, I just think that it changes colors a little too fast to look nice as a hat. This is what I have so far, still very in the beginning stages of it. And I just think that is too fast for color changes. Some of these pieces are multiple colors because it changed in the middle of a stitch. And not that that's necessarily bad, it's just aesthetics wise for me, I'm not a big fan of fast color changes, and I don't like when the color changes in the middle of a stitch. So I'm not exactly liking this yarn so far. But you know, I'm still gonna work on it. Still going to use this yarn, of course. Gonna finish this hat, but for me personally, like, I wouldn't buy this yarn again. Alright, just kidding. I asked the person who I'm making this for, not the actual kids, I asked, the adult I am making this for. And they said the Big Bird hat, do a toddler size. The Cookie Monster hat, which is the yarn for that is over there, do a child size. So it's a good thing that I asked. It doesn't, hurt me in any way right now because they both start out the same way. But I'll be making this one slightly smaller and then the next one a bigger size. And hopefully they fit on their heads because I don't have them here to model for me. I moved over to the bed because it is 8 o'clock at night and I don't want to sit in my chair anymore. But I finished the hat, and one of the funniest things I ever think about with hats in general is how stretchy they are. So like this hat is about this big, stretched. I could probably stretch a little bit more, but I don't want to overstretch it. It's about this big. But when you're not like actively stretching it out, it is this big. And it looks so small to me. Also, I need to put this on. That was most of the reason why I started recording. So it's gonna be weird because I want to make sure that you can take it off should you need to. So I'm not going to cut the excess. It comes with elastic on the bottom of the head. I'm not going to cut off the excess because I don't want it to get dirty and then you can't take it off or whatever. So I want to make sure that you can clean it easily and take it off if you need to. But simultaneously, I'm not 100% sure how I'm putting this on. I'm just kind of going for it and hoping for the best. So put it into the top, out through a little bit underneath the top. Put it over the head. And then out through the top again. Yeah. And then you have all this excess inside. And like I said, I don't want to cut it because I want it to be easily removable, should you need to. So I guess I'm gonna weave it into the hat. Which is going to take me some time that I can't just make up for by rambling. So I'm going to do that after I finish this video, but this is generally what it's going to look like at the end. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to weave this in, then I'm going to start working on Cookie Monster, and you'll see me when I'm starting this. Alright, Cookie Monster time. Am I going to finish this tonight? No, it is 8:30, but figured I'd at least record myself getting confused by how to open this yet again. Wow. And actually opening this and dogs barking. This one has a middle. Ooh. I think I'm gonna like the look of this one better just because I'm generally not a big fan of yellows and oranges and all the colors that were in Big Bird, but this looks like it would look nice. We'll see. I just read the instructions on how you're supposed to put one of these on. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense. So, also, by the way, it's 11. I'm still working on this hat. To be fair, I have put it down for a little bit to go do other things, but I just keep getting pulled back into this hat project. On the inside of yarn labels, there is normally a pattern. I don't know if you'll be able to see that writing in there. Where, like, especially for bigger yarn manufacturers like Lion Brand, they'll include a little free pattern on the inside for, like, this is what you can make with our yarn. And it's normally kind of boring stuff, hats, shawls, blankets, but you know, basic things, so that if you don't really have an idea of what you want to do with this yarn, there you go, there's an idea. The inside of this is for a knit hat, and I don't knit, it gives me a headache. So I wasn't really going to pay attention to it anyway, but I just, for a second, I was like, I wonder if they give you instructions on the inside of this of how to put the head on the hat and how to, like, secure it, because it's kind of loose. It's kind of loose. It's also on the ground right now. Really wiggly. Not a big fan. On the inside of this, they say, draw ends of elastic tie on Cookie Monster through to inside of hat, not elastic to secure. Which makes a lot of sense. In the Big Bird hat, which I do not have currently with me, I have already given it to it. It's intended recipient of the adult variety and not the child. In that one, I just, like, you watched me, I put it through the center of the hat and then I weaved it in. But this is saying that you undo this tied end, then you put it inside the hat and you tie it to the hat, which makes sense. It would be more secure that way. And if you do a fairly simple knot, it would be easy to, like, undo. Okay, so it has been a hot second since I last sort of worked on this, had a little bit of a vacation, but I did finish the Cookie Monster hat. Had to think of what his name was. That is a very loud and very long truck. Oh my gosh. I didn't want to show too much of the process of this because I figured you got a lot from Big Bird, but did the little hat a size larger than Big Bird is. And I also did the head according to the instructions on the inside of the wrapper, you know? So I actually tied it on, tied it really tight, and then snipped off the excess, which is somewhere around here. I would have shown it to you, but I literally just took a look around and went, don't feel like that. So, yes, I did finish this one as well. So, with this being finished, that's the end of the video, because the whole point was to make 2 hats, and we've done it. So, as I've said, this is not going to be something that is in the store. It's just something that I was making for a friend, because once they stop making this yarn, what am I supposed to do if I sell it in store, right? Like, it's over. But I wouldn't mind it. I don't know, I just think it'd be very difficult to get my hands on the yarn, And so that's my whole reason for being reluctant of putting it in the shop. But it's not like a bad thing at all. Like this didn't bore me to tears and take forever. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you are into crochet things and you want to see some of the stuff that is in our store, you can go to thetranquilshop.com, see what we have available. And I hope to see you in the next video for a new project that most likely will actually be in the store and not just a little side project I've done for someone.